grief is indescribable, unique, and yet universal. One of the most defining human experiences. A state where emotions are not experienced one at a time, but rather as a volatile spectrum, ebbing, flowing, and crashing together. Expedition 33 is not the only story to explore grief, however for me it delivers the most accurate description I have come across, and it can be entirely missed. Embedded in a beautifully tragic story, subtly foreshadowed from one of the first dialogues and in easily overlooked exchanges. Devastation present from the very beginning. This is Sciel's story. At its core, Expedition 33 is a story about grief, even if the perspective of whose grief shifts throughout the narrative. We witness actions and decisions of those shaped by it. Not always agreeable, but those actions are relatable and almost always understandable. We also see grief in its immediacy and how it scars. However, it rarely tries to articulate grief itself in more direct terms, apart from one exception, Sciel's story. I have previously covered her tragedy in my video that details the events up until the departure of Expedition 33, but I intentionally avoided talking about it in much depth. It is such a delicate story, it warrants its own focus. After knowing what she has lost and how she handled that grief, everything about her is recontextualized. Her mannerisms, her dialogue, even the way she holds conversations. Upon first meeting her, Sciel is very charismatic and has an admirable amount of self-assurance. It's fitting you can miss her at the departure party, as it is just as easy to miss her full story if you ignore the camp conversations. Yet, despite such a short initial exchange, an extraordinary amount of information is conveyed. She turns playful banter into a toast to her dear friend seamlessly, before returning back to a more jovial tone.
To Sophie, who was always unapologetically Sophie, my fierce and loving friend.
The toast isn't dismissive. It's genuine. She just pivots so organically.
Tomorrow comes.
There is also clear evidence of a long-standing friendship with Gustave. Not only is he comfortable retorting back, but when Sciel objects to his comments regarding hangovers, he simply acknowledges her. Doesn't probe further, challenge, or continue to joke. An unspoken recognition. Whatever she is referencing isn't new. Before we meet Sciel again after the beach landing incident, a notable event happens to Gustave. Upon seeing the mountain of corpses, an overwhelming sense of futility overcomes him, and he points his own gun on himself. Another example of grief manifesting, and one that ultimately strengthens their bond. When reunited, Gustave and Sciel spend some time together overlooking the monolith. By this point, Gustave nearly confided to the group about his near attempt on his own life before Lune interrupted him. However, this does not actually appear to escape Sciel, as she looks to fill the silence in very earnest ways.
I'm glad you're here.
The following conversation finds itself on more comfortable grounds, and they relive their nostalgia. This reminds us that they've known each other for a considerable amount of time, even worked together. It also tells us that since they worked on Aquafarm 3, this indicates that there was a period of time where Sciel did not hate water, a fact we're introduced to upon meeting Esquier, as he refers to her as his
terrible swimmer friend.
A comment that spurs the next camp dialogue, where Sciel does confirm that she connected the dots.
I know.
That she knows what happens to Gustave after waking up at the waterfall. The conversation skirts around the topic, but there are clear insinuations. especially when Sciel is relieved that he was not alone at the time.
I'm just glad Lune found you. Before it was too late.
This shared experience deepens their relationship. She understands how Gustave felt.
Better than anyone. You know that?
She recognizes the feeling, the weight of it. And more importantly, he knows she does.
I like having you in my life.
A gentle reassurance he'd be missed.
Good night, Gustave.
Finally, we reach the stone-waved cliffs, having seen off the Lampmaster. SKA finally has Florrie and the expeditioners can cross the sea. Sciel's worst nightmare. Gustave immediately recognizes her trepidation and looks to calm her.
Hey, you can do this.
His final words to her, acknowledging her hatred for water, understanding it, and being there for her. An old friend, one of many years, still helping her with her grief. Our remaining party are all experienced in grief, but it doesn't mean they are prepared for Gustave's death. Not an expectation like with their parents, not fellow expeditioners that they may have spent little to no time with. For some that remain, a premature death like this is new, unforgiving. Maelle becomes fixated on vengeance in between the bouts of overwhelming sadness.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the paintress first.
Lune begins spiralling over purpose and duty, determining in her mind that their expedition died with Gustave, that they need to live true to the motto for those who come after.
Expedition 32 will bring more. Their chances will be better. We need to prepare them. I should update our journals.
Hey.
Sciel, though, consoles,
It's okay.
stops her spiralling despite her own grief, reminding Lune that the future is inevitable, regardless of how hopeless the situation feels.
Tomorrow will still come.
Sciel does not undergo any serious departure from her normal behaviours. She has navigated this kind of loss before, and that experience is evident in trying to ground her friends. We see this twice more in the Forgotten Battlefield. Lune is still focused on duty even in the face of Maelle's need to bury Gustave.
Could we bury Gustave?
I wish we could, but protocol is to keep moving. Gustave would understand.
We can look for a suitable place along the way, yeah? We'll find a nice spot.
Again, Sciel mediates by acknowledging Maelle's pain. Although, later, Maelle scolds Sciel for not acting differently.
And you. Gustave's dead. How can you keep going like nothing happened?
But Sciel does not look to chastise or reprimand, but again, acknowledge.
We need to continue.
Knowing how grief reshapes everything.
You know what we must do. When one falls,
As you are forced into a life you never wanted.
come on.
Gustave's funeral gives us one final moment of truly understanding how deep his friendship with Sciel was. She reflects on how she sees him being truly free.
No more dome. Just open skies.
Take care of the shield dome while I'm gone. I'm entrusting you with the safety of Luminaire.
No dome, nothing holding him back. He is now free from duty, from responsibilities. Then, to a pivotal moment that elevates emotions
You were always there for me.
through their shared lives, of her being a terrible swimmer and his post-waterfall experience. that he really was always there for her in her worst times. And her final words to him, a loving reminder of his own love for someone departed.
Say hi to Soph for me, yeah?
I imagine something she would also find comfort in with her own passing. And finally, we have the conversation.
You never told me. How do you go from being a farmer to running a school?
Spend enough time with Sciel in the camp and we learn about her devastating past.
He died in an accident on one of the islands near Lumiere. His body washed away. We were supposed to have 5 more years together.
Losing Pierre in an accident 5 years before his gamage ends with a swim with no destination to drown in her grief.
When I lost Pierre, I tried to swim away from Lumiere. I swam for as long as I could, as far as the waves would carry me, until I could no longer swim.
Even though she was saved, she still lost. Her unborn daughter she never knew she had. A horrific consequence no one could have seen coming, yet defines the weight of her loss.
She would have been 6.
A grim reminder that in the depths of grief, we can make choices that have consequences that ripple unpredictably. It's no surprise she hates water. A twisted reminder of how both her husband and daughter were taken from her.
Grief often blinds us, and we make choices we can never take back.
But for me, there is another aspect to this conversation that captures me. This is the first time the game tries to put grief into words. And, in my opinion, it's excellently executed. It is the negative space that devastates. Not just the loss, but the absence.
Every day, I just felt the lack of him. The negative space he used to inhabit. The dip in the chair where he sat. The hollow of his shoes, the emptiness inside his jacket.
Sciel aptly refers to the space he would have occupied in his jacket, the reminder of what was and should, but will never be again. It's not just the lack of being able to hug them again, it's the inability to feel the weight of them. And with them gone, that weight is lifted too. Those routines you had, gone, with nothing to replace them. Having to face it without them. No one else to fill the hollows of their shoes. The permanence of absence. While she goes on to fight to save the canvas and bring Pierre back, regardless of the ending, there is only one thing I can think to say to her. Say hi to Pierre for me, yeah? This is one story of grief in a compendium of perspectives, but it stands out because of how quietly it is told. Everything there from the beginning. In the dialogue, in what others already understand, and what you learn about. I would love to know which story of grief in this game sticks with you the most, so please let me know in the comments below and we can all cry together. If you'd like to hear more of this kind of analysis, I have many other videos on my channel you would like. From how Renoir's redemption is even more profound given the actions of his mirrored self, to how Claire is a truly loving sister, even if her actions feel cold and cruel. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you. I really do appreciate you taking the time, and if you have liked what you have seen, make sure to like and subscribe to not miss any future analysis. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.